Declan, we saw Luther go down at the end of 7-on-7. Did he just get the wind knocked out of him, or?
I'm going to defer all questions on injuries to Coach, so he'll answer those. He's going to have a better feel for that than me.
Declan, we haven't talked to you since before the draft. Now that you guys have all the specific pieces in place, how do you go about envisioning where this offense can go, particularly with the receivers that you now have?
Yeah, I think that we're really excited about the pieces we added. As we get into, so obviously Rookie Minicamp, we're exposed to a couple of them in Luther and Colson. But really, as we get into OTAs, that's where we're going to really explore what these guys can do, where we see the direction of this offense going, and starting to ask them to be a little bit outside of their comfort zone, maybe things that they haven't done before, and really start to shape that and what that looks like.
What's the key to that process in the OTA period of just experimenting and doing it in a way that's productive?
I think trying to give them a lot, see what they can handle, rather than hey, narrowly, you're going to be doing this and we're going to pigeonhole you. We're going to ask you to do a number of things, and we're going to see if you're good at it. And if you are, then I think that can be something that we can add to our repertoire.
What was intriguing to you guys about Burton?
He's an explosive athlete. He's really exciting. His tape was really impressive in college. He's a playmaker, and I think when the ball's in his hands, he was one of the best guys that we evaluated in this process.
The centerpiece, the centerpiece of the offense. How will you have to guide him in terms of showing up in a place where he's not the first option and might not be the second or third either?
I think it's the same way you guide any of these guys that are new rookies, kind of getting indoctrinated. I think that he's got to learn the system first, and he's got to learn kind of our way of doing things. But like any of these guys, it takes all of us to help each and every one of them. And that's really going to be the biggest thing. It's not like, hey, you're coming in to have this amount of targets or this amount. It's, hey, let's get him in here. Let's get him competing just like everybody else is competing. And then, when it comes time in the fall, that's when we're going to decide, who's going to touch it and who's going to give us the best chance to have success.
What do you like about when you first watched Loveland on tape? What were some of the things that jumped out to you?
He's competitive. He's super competitive. I was a tight ends coach before this. He was a guy that I started watching Colston near the end of last season. I had a quality control coach that brought his tape and Tyler Warren's tape. And so I got to watch Colston a little bit right at the end of last year, and I was like, man, I would love to be able to coach this guy. It just so happens that I end up here, and we end up acquiring him, and we're certainly very excited about the competitiveness, the person. He's been out there. He's been really inquisitive, and he's very involved just right from the rip.
What are some of the things he does that show you that competitiveness, the things that you can see on the tape that show you that he can?
I think that you see him finishing at a high rate, and you'll see him jaw a little bit at whoever he is he's playing against. That's the biggest thing that stands out is just his ability to finish and his willingness to play through the whistle.
Ben said that next to quarterback, tight end's the hardest position for a rookie to grasp. And, knowing that he's not going to be on the field for a little bit, what do you try to focus on with him now? What specific areas of the mental part?
Yeah,
pick up?
I think with any of these guys, you start at the start, and so that is the language first. Getting on the same page as far as how we're going to communicate. For tight ends, that is a challenging position to be able to pick up because you are involved in run game, protection, pass game. And so we're giving these guys kind of a bite-sized piece of what we're going to give the veterans here, but really not skipping any steps. No different than how we're handling Caleb in the quarterback position, making sure that he feels comfortable with how we're going to communicate, where he's going to line up, what his thought process is at the line of scrimmage, where his eyes need to go, all those things, all the intricate details of our offense.
Of course, it's early in the process, but are there any of the undrafted guys that have really surprised you here early on?
I wouldn't say surprised. Obviously all these guys are working really hard and competing. But no, I wouldn't say anything that surprised us so far.
What do you like about your group at running back that you have right now when you look at Kyle entering this and then the veterans still in the picture here?
Yeah, I think my short exposure to Swift has been really positive. He's very attentive. He's a pro. Obviously, you like what he does in the passing game, and he's going to be a home run hitter as a runner. Adding Kyle to that mix is going to be awesome. And then obviously, we have the group that's in there, Roshan and those guys. So obviously adding Kyle is a very positive thing, but I think that, we're going to find out more about this group as we go here.
Kyle was obviously very successful in college. what about him do you think translates well to the NFL, and in what areas are you guys gonna have to try and coach him up and get him better?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of areas we're gonna have to coach him up, but he is a very physical player. He's very willing, and then the best thing about him that translates is that he's a consummate pro. The last couple days we've been able to meet with these guys. He is front and center. He's taking notes. He's attentive. He is. You're asking a question of the group. He's answering, and I think he's going to carry himself that way. I think guys that do handle themselves that way give themselves a great shot.
What have you been able to pull from Eric Bieniemy and his experience in your time here?
There's a lot. I mean, he is he's very experienced. He's a guy that's been to the mountaintop. He knows what it looks like. Obviously he's going to have an impact on that running back group. He'll have an impact on our whole offensive staff. But he has a lot of experience in a number of different areas of scheme that have been really helpful for all of us as we've kind of gone through this.
Is he as fiery in the room as he is on the field? Or?
At times, I would say that I've really enjoyed working with him thus far, but absolutely, he's very passionate, and obviously you guys stand over there by the running backs and you get to see that firsthand.
Personally, what are you most eager for in these next several months as you guys sort of start to put the pieces of the puzzle together offensively?
I think I'm just eager to work with our staff, work with our players, and start to make it ours. And all these days are building blocks, and they're habits that we create that carry us in these big moments that are later in the season. At the end of the season, we're going to be able to look back at the tape and say, hey, this is our resume, this is what we did. But the biggest thing is just the relationship with all these guys and being able to attack it every day with them.
When you see all the pieces you added to all the different position groups, what gives you the most hope that you've got everything you need to work with?
I would say it's just a special group of people. Like it's a group of people that we are excited about the direction that this place is going. We're bringing in people that are like-minded, that fit the vision of the head coach, the ownership, the GM top down. And when you bring a group of people together that are like-minded and attacking a goal together, I think that a lot is possible.
You've been around Caleb a lot since we talked to you last. What do you know about him now that you didn't know maybe?
Who did you say?
Caleb.
Yeah.
About him that you didn't know when you took the job.
Yeah. I would say that he is very eager to do work. He's here after hours. He is really trying to get it right. We're giving him scripts, and came in last Saturday and he's down in there in the indoor trying to walk through it by himself. I think it's really important to him that he gets it right. I think his teammates can feel that. I think his teammates feel a guy that's trying to take the next step, and that it's been a really positive exposure thus far.
Was there a key aspect to Bo Nix's success last season that you feel you guys have accomplished so far here?
I think building it around Bo was the biggest thing that we had in Denver, and we're trying to do the same thing here where, as we go through OTAs and training camp, we're going to have a better feel for, this is actually what the offense looks like. We're going to give them a lot, and then we're going to narrow it down from there. I think that we're in the process of doing that.
As an OC, I would assume it's amazing having all of these weapons, but what are some of the challenges that come up where you have to keep everybody involved, have to get everybody the ball, have to make sure that, you're using your weapons to the best of your ability?
Yeah, there's only one ball, and so that's part of the deal. We have to make sure that we're taking all that into account in the game plan process. We're very early in that, and so we don't have to deal with those problems quite yet. But those are really good problems to have as an offense.
They call this a coaching orientation this weekend as much as a rookie orientation. Just in what ways have these practices with the rookies been helpful for you trying to find your voice out there on the practice field in your new role?
Absolutely. This is the first time we're all working together. So not only me, but the rest of our staff, everybody, the flow of practice, what our standards look like, how we operate from drill to drill, and how we're going to communicate to our players. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to really get on the same page.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Look, obviously, rookie minicamp. We're just getting into the introduction phase of what we're doing with these young guys. So we're not going to get into a lot of, instant reactions in terms of how everybody's doing. These guys are out here excited about working. They're working extremely hard, both mentally and physically, and so, and we're excited about working with them.
As you've gotten more familiar with Shamar, what stands out to you about his skill set?
Yeah, look, I mean, he's athletic, you know. I think that was the first thing that we saw. You see, you know, explosion and power with this player. I think he's got the right temperament for what we're looking for, you know. I think we'll have to put the saddle on him and break him a little bit, you know. But you know, we'd rather have to pull the reins back rather than have to whip him to get him to go. So, you know, we're excited about working with him.
How do you describe his disposition both on the field, and we've been exposed to him, he seems very eager to come in here and take advantage of an
Yeah,
opportunity.
look, I mean, he's got a good outgoing personality. I think he enjoys being in the building. I think he really loves football, and that's something that you know, we look for in guys that we want to bring into the building. You know, because you have to love football to do all the things that's going to be necessary to have success in our league. So, um, yeah, I think he's got a good personality, and then when he's on the field, he's about business, and so that's good to see.
You said yesterday you have a prototype at linebacker that you like. In what ways did Ruben Hippolyte fit what you kind of envision at that position?
Well, yeah, I mean, the number one thing is he can run, you know, and the things that we're going to ask our backers to have to do, you know, they've got to be able to match up with tight ends, with running backs. At times, they got to be able to match up with wide receivers. Sometimes that's carrying things vertical down the field, you know. So we're looking for guys that can run, and then we're looking for guys that have a physical mentality, a physical demeanor. And you know, I felt like he exhibited those things on tape.
When he came here for a visit, what did you kind of want to learn about him, and what did you take away?
Well, I'll tell you what I did learn is that he's very mature, you know, and he's very business oriented, and so he's got his life together off the field, which is going to allow him to be able to focus on the field with the football. So there's not going to be a lot of outside distractions with this guy, and I think that's a positive. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to learn how to be a pro really quickly because of that maturity level.
Derek?
So related to Ruben being fast and can run, before the draft, you're talking about you wanted the defense to get more athletic, faster. Now, after the draft, how much progress have you made overall on this defense of getting faster, getting more athletic?
Yeah, I think we've made some progress there. You know, I think these three guys that we drafted really help in that regard. Now, obviously, you know, right now they don't know whether it's pumped or stuffed, you know, in terms of the football. So they got a lot of learning to do, and there's a lot of things that we have to teach. But from a physical skill set standpoint, they fit the type of player that we're looking for.
Derek Carr retired today. What was your experience with him when you guys were?
Listen, my experience with him was outstanding. I mean, what a great individual. You know, I was there when we drafted him in Oakland. Had a chance to coach him again as he matured there in New Orleans. I love Derek Carr. You know, obviously I hadn't spoken to him. I just saw that right before we walked out onto the practice field today. But man, he did a lot of good things, and he was always somebody that was pleasant to be around in the building.
What stood out to you about Zon Frazier against Belmore this week?
Say it again.
Zon Frazier, what stood out to you about him?
Well, I think probably the biggest thing is you know, you got a big long press corner that can run. You know, he made a play out there today, you know, over on the left sideline defensively as you look at it, and that's kind of what we saw with him. Here's another guy that's a young developmental corner. Like, he's got a lot of things that he's got to learn, but again, he's got the tools for us to work with. And look, I mean, who better to work with him, you know, than Al Harris, a guy that's got kind of a similar frame, you know, and played a long time in this league and had a lot of success. So I think we're excited about getting the opportunity to work with him and helping him grow.
I think he's 25, or he's going to be 25 this year. Is there a difference in just coaching some of the rookies as they're coming into the league now a little bit older than in years past?
I don't know. I mean, I think with the era of NIL and some of those things, you do get a little bit of in the transfer portal and all these things, you get a little bit of a different demeanor with some of these guys coming in. But I think one of the things that we did a great job of, Ryan Poles and his guys did a great job of identifying guys that had a mature mindset, and guys that fit kind of the culture that we want to try to build here. And so I think all those guys that we brought in specifically on defense, I think fit those things.
With Shamar, I know that he's talked about, his versatility, something that he really, holds dear. Do you see him as an edge? Like, how will you kind of determine how you?
Well, look, I think the first thing we got to do is we got to play him in at defensive tackle, and let him learn there, let him develop there, both as a 3 technique and as a nose, and then we'll worry about trying to see that flexibility from a skill set standpoint. Yeah, he's got some flexibility. We'll just have to see what he can learn and how quickly he can learn and adapt to what we're doing.
What's your take on Major Burns, safety from LSU, UDFA? How's he been looking so far, camp here?
Yeah, I think he's done a solid job. He's another one of these bigger, longer safeties. Again, like all of them, their heads are swimming a little bit in terms of what we're doing defensively, schematically, but I think that'll come. But I think, when you really look at all of these guys, there's a skill set that we're excited about working with. And now, it's our job to help develop that skill set.
Awesome, thank you guys.
All right, thanks, guys.